JNB Sports Talk once again, and this time we're going to be talking about the first round of the NBA playoffs. And this time I'm going to be talking about the Bucks and Magic, and I'm also going to be talking about the Sixers and Celtics. What are you going to be talking about, B?
Yes, I'm going to be talking about the Raptors and the Nets, and also the Heat and the Pacers.
Now, I'm going to get started first. This first one, I'm just going to get to the more less memorable one, which is going to be the Bucks and the Magic. For all intents and purposes, it was the least memorable one. It wasn't the most exciting one. It went pretty much how I expected it to go. I thought the Magic would reel off the game because, they have a pretty energetic team. They have Markelle Fultz, who's found a role finally, although definitely not lived up to first-round pick status. He is a bust for all intents and purposes. And they also have Nikola Vucevic, Jonathan Isaac, and they also have DJ Augustine, who, pretty much every single year has that time where has his time where he just kind of lights it up. He had it in Game 1 against the Raptors last year, and he was able to kind of mimic that again in the first game. In the first game, the Bucks had their struggles. They kind of didn't come together as a team, and I think they've had similar struggles in past playoff series. They last year had that series against the Celtics where they lost Game 1 by like 20 or 30 points, and infamously, Paul Pierce said that the series was over. Bucks came back consequently and dominated the last 5 games. Bucks did the same thing in this series. They proved that they were the better team under Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they showed up and dominated the last 4 games, did what they needed to do, and kind of brought themselves back into the fold of the playoff season again, being in the bubble this time. Not too much really to go over there. Not really much changes to expect. Probably the Magic get a higher draft pick as a result of this, and they're going to probably have to kind of reset again, because their draft picks over the last few years, while they proved to be sort of exciting, they have not proven to actually be a success. So, no, they need somebody who can really be a transcendent great player, or else they're not going to be on the top levels.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This wasn't a series that they were going to win in the first place. They got lucky, they took a game, but overall the Bucks are just a better team, and there's no shame saying that you lost to a better team. I'm gonna talk about the Raptors Nets series. What you're gonna kind of find about this first round, a lot of sweeps, a lot of brooms for the dust, and that's what happened here. The Nets didn't have KD. Raptors are the 2 seed. Nets are the 7 seed. Nets had no chance. They didn't have pretty much anybody who made an impact this series. You could really only say Spencer Dinwiddie.
Maybe Karis LeVert, but Karis LeVert didn't show up.
Yeah, Raptors had a lot going for them. Spicy P was phenomenal this series. I'm pretty sure he had like a couple 30-point games. Kyle Lowry was decent. They didn't really have to do much to win the series. And that kind of showed.
Now, this next team I'm going to get into is the Philadelphia 76ers. This was a disaster. An absolute, unmitigated disaster. I picked the Celtics to win the series in 6 games. I think the 76ers are a very talented team. They have arguably 2 of the most talented overall players at their position in the league in Simmons and Embiid. Maybe Simmons isn't the most overall skilled guy, but height, overall frame, being 6'9" and playing the point guard position, being able to pass and even play in the low post and play even a forward. The guy is extremely versatile, even without the great shooting. Embiid has just improved in terms of shooting down the court from downtown, but they're just not ran that well. There's been a lot of overall turmoil with the roster. Tobias Harris comes in, Jimmy Butler enters and exits the door pretty much like that. Then you have, Brett Brown. He was a very poor coach and ended up getting fired as a result of this series. in my opinion, this 76ers team is probably going to blow up within the next couple of seasons. If they're not able to make a big move in this offseason and they sort of replicate a similar sort of turn of events as to what went on this season, honestly, I'm expecting Embiid to probably get a trade. Just being honest. I think Simmons will probably stay. He's the younger guy. Not really much controversies or concerns with him. He's been sort of playing second fiddle, and he's maybe there could be shown to be the alpha of the team if Embiid were to leave. But I think Embiid's out of the door, to be honest. I really do.
Yeah, their whole memo was trust the process, and 76ers fans clearly don't. You have one of the most talented rosters in the league. You have a young player in Matisse Thybulle who also makes very good vlogs. You have Tobias Harris, a talented forward. You have Embiid, who's arguably the best center in the game. You have Ben Simmons, who at 6'9", playing point guard the way he's been doing it is phenomenal. And you get swept. It doesn't make sense, honestly.
I also feel like they need more shooters. If you look at Matisse Thybulle, his main specialty is a good defender. He's not really a scorer. Ben Simmons can't shoot. Joel Embiid, not much of a shooter. Can shoot from three, but doesn't take a lot of those shots. Al Horford is starting to decline. Tobias Harris can shoot, but they lost J.J. Redick as well. But also, when it comes to the Boston Celtics, they have a very nice young core on their team. Jaylen Brown's improved this season, and kind of proved the doubters wrong from the previous year where he was a little bit off. And Jason Tatum has improved tremendously this year, has averaged 23 a game, and showed up in last series. And he showed up thus far in the Raptors series, which we'll get to in a little bit. The Celtics really do have a bright future, and Kemba Walker has sort of kind of taken a step-aside role, has been willing to sort of be the second option in terms of scoring, and sort of maybe facilitate a bit more and play sort of a smaller but still combo guard role. I like what's going on with them.
I definitely agree. Kemba's really stepped into the second option role very well. He's still been doing very good this season. Starter on the All-Star team. I think he's been phenomenal. You get to this next series that I'm going to talk about, and that is going to be the Heat versus the Pacers. This was a disaster for the Indiana Pacers. They were the 4 seed. They had home field advantage, if you even want to call it that, because you're in a bubble and there's no fans. The Heat dominated this series. They just flat out dominated. They swept, they got the broom out, like 3 of the series in the Eastern Conference first round. It just wasn't even close. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, they all outplayed Oladipo, and even a red-hot T.J. Warren, who was averaging a lot of points in the bubble. I'm just going to say a lot of points because he's averaging a ton. I don't really even have much else to say. This was a disaster of a series for the Indiana Pacers, and I don't know where Indiana goes on from here.
Yeah, and I anticipate overall what I've learned from the series thus far is that the Sixers they had a good rebuilding, in all honesty, because not every team can win a championship off of rebuilds, but overall they got great talent, but they've had a lot of trouble gelling. If they can't get a coach to be able to help sort of gel the team together, they're going to be in some trouble, and they're probably going to have to start all over again, in all honesty, and maybe build around Ben Simmons and get rid of Embiid, because Embiid probably won't want to be there, and also Embiid, I don't know. I just have this gut feeling about Embiid. I don't know if he's a championship-level player, to be honest. I think he's a championship-level talent, but as the leader of a team, I don't know if he can necessarily take on that role. He's not a Kawhi Leonard or a Curry or a Durant or a LeBron-level player. He's a tier below that. And I think there are certain things in his game. He kind of shows up certain games. He's off in others. He performed poorly in last year's playoffs against the Raptors, and kind of showed up when kind of showed up a bit in the wrong spots. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go in the future, to be honest. They need somebody to help bring the team together and help mature the players. With the other series, Bucks and Magic, I think the Bucks already needed time to get used to their little series. They, of course, lost their first game to the Heat, but I didn't really learn much from that series. Magic just aren't quite capable. They need a star player, and they don't really have that.
Yeah, for my series, what I kind of took away is honestly just nothing. It was kind of plain except for the Pacers series. Raptors were expected to win, and they definitely won throughout that entire round. And I have nothing but respect for them. I think that they could get to the conference finals again this year with all that talent they have on the roster. I mean, they probably have one of the most well-rounded group of guys. I mean, you have Serge Ibaka, who can shoot, who can play defense in the post really well. You got Spicy P, who last year was like up there for most improved player, and this year he has became a star in his own way, kind of just leading that Raptors team. You got Kyle Lowry, who's still been doing pretty well, even as a 35-year-old point guard. He's still been doing really well. Fred VanVleet kind of broke onto the scene last year. This year he's proved that he can be a star in this league, and I think that the Raptors could possibly get to the finals, although I don't think it will happen. I think the Bucks are going to overall win the East. Heat, contender. They have been playing very, very well. Jimmy Butler's been playing incredible. Bam Adebayo should have won Most Improved Player. It went to Brandon Ingram. But yeah, I do think that the Heat and the Raptors are going to be contenders. And even though the Heat are going to play the Bucks, I think that there's a chance. I think there's a pretty good chance that they could walk out of that series with the W, especially considering Giannis isn't very happy with how the Bucks actually lost the game against the Magic.
Well, that closes out our video on the Eastern Conference first round, and we're probably going to get to the Western Conference in our next video after this game tonight is done, which I'm very I'm awaiting. So yeah, hopefully, in my opinion at least, hopefully the Thunder do beat the Rockets, because that'd be pretty funny. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how we're going to close out the video. Have a good one, fellas.
Alright, thank you guys for watching. Peace.